Good afternoon. My name is Milena Veneva from Access MBA, and you're now listening to the Roundtable Discussion on the topic Why Study in Europe, with the exclusive participation of Ms. Lisa Piguet, Associate Director MBA Admissions and Marketing at IMD, and Ms. Camila Uribe, Director of International Development at IE Business School. This will be an in-depth discussion about the value of European MBAs, and I have prepared a number of questions for Lisa and Camila. Both of them have extensive experience on this subject and will provide a combination of general information and specific examples from their own experience. But before we start the discussion, I first would like to ask both of you to make a brief presentation of the MBA programs offered at IMD and at IE Business School. Camila, would you like to be first?
Yes, of course, Milena. Thank you. So at IE, we have two types of MBA programs. They have similar content but different format depending on the profile of the candidate. For profiles from 3 to approximately 8 years of professional experience, we have the International MBA, which is a full-time MBA that lasts 13 months. And we also have the Global MBA, which is a blended program that lasts between 13 and 15 months. By blended, we mean that these programs combine face-to-face classes or sessions in Madrid with online classes, allowing students to continue with their personal and professional obligations while studying their MBA. We are one of the only schools that offer the same content in both formats. So this way we're always able to ensure diversity of nationalities and profiles in both the full-time and the part-time, or what we call blended programs. All of our programs have a core period which gives you a global perspective of business and develops the interpersonal skills that are necessary in management nowadays. And they are followed by the possibility of customizing the program according to the students' needs, interests, and aspirations. In this slide, students have the opportunity to personalize by choosing their own electives, by doing an internship, by doing a dual degree, and we have dual degrees both with internal other master programs at IE or with other schools like Tufts, Yale, or MIT. They can do the personalization also by taking part of the IE consulting project or the social input project. They can go on short or long exchange periods with over 40 business schools worldwide with whom we have agreements with. They can be part of the Venture Lab, or they can choose a specialization through the Plus modules. We also offer an executive MBA program in different formats, but it's also a blended program for those profiles that have more years and more extensive professional experience and that are looking to make their professional obligations compatible with doing an MBA. So as you can see, both flexibility and customization is key in all of our programs. Last but not least, it is important to mention that IE has a very strong entrepreneurial spirit, which is evident not only in the way we teach within the classrooms, but also in the fact that our missions include to promote the development and consolidation of startups proposed and launched by IE students and alumni in Spain and everywhere in the rest of the world. So this has made our school an international reference in the field of entrepreneurship worldwide. And this is probably why 25% of our students go on to start their own companies at a certain point of their careers.
Very good news. And thank you. Lisa, would you like to present the programs offered at IMD?
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Camila. Okay, so we actually have two MBA programs at IMD. So we have the Executive MBA and we have the Full-Time MBA. I actually represent the Full-Time MBA, so I'll just touch briefly on the Executive MBA to begin with because we're actually very separate at IMD. So the Executive MBA is actually a modular program. It's 14 months long. And because we're separate, I'm not going to really go into detail, but we do have, at IMD we call them degree programs. The other degree program is the Full-Time MBA, which I actually represent. And it's a full-time 11-month general management MBA. And the big focus, I would actually have to say, would be on industry. So it's a little bit different than a lot of MBA programs, which do focus on financial services and consulting. IMD happens to focus on industry, so it's slightly different than a lot of programs out there. We're also quite different in that we only accept 90 MBAs per year, which makes us really unique. We do that because of we have a really key differentiator, which is the leadership and the personal development module. So in addition to the business fundamentals that you would get at any top MBA program, you get this leadership and personal development stream, which is kind of the red thread that runs throughout the entire program. So you'll get finance and accounting and strategy and marketing. But in addition to that, you'll get 20 sessions with a licensed psychoanalyst that actually really helps you look at your leadership style. Now, technically, this is an elective, but about 95% of the participants, we don't call them students, we call them participants, actually take it. And the whole premise is that we're trying to train general managers, and in order to train you to be a good manager or a good leader, you really have to understand yourself, and you really have to look inside and understand what really makes you tick. So we push you really hard in different ways to be able to make you do that. So that's why we have these coaches, we have the psychologists that actually really that train these people to be good leaders and good managers. So that's really what kind of makes IMD really unique. We also have this very hands-on approach, so it's a very practical approach. So we integrate classes like most MBA programs. In addition to that, we have live business cases, company projects. So we also have an entrepreneurship, I would say, theme that runs throughout the program. We work with live startups at IMD. This area at IMD, where IMD is actually located in Lausanne, between Lausanne and Geneva, it's the third largest area in the world for private equity and venture capital funding. So a lot of the startups that are actually picked are actually from this region because they want the entrepreneur to actually be with you on a daily basis so that you can work with the entrepreneur all the time. We have a discovery trip, which basically you end up in usually a developing country somewhere in the world. And we have something called an international consulting project. And these are where the MBAs go out and work with big top multinationals like Nespresso and Nestle and Tetra Pak and different companies like that. And these companies are actually paying IMD a good sum of money for the MBAs to actually go out and consult to them. And these projects are based anywhere in the world that the MBAs choose to go to. So if somebody basically is from, let's say they're from Colombia and they really want to go to Shanghai, then they would choose the project that's going to be based in Shanghai. And it's an 8-week project. And this, in our view of the world, takes the place of an internship because it's such a short program. There really isn't a long time for an internship here. And it's a very hands-on, high-level project that really takes the place of that. You're dealing with managing directors or above at these companies, and you're always followed by a professor. And IMD has this motto throughout the whole entire organization. It's this real-world, real learning approach. So that's it.
Thank you for the presentations of your programs, and I want to proceed with our first question, which concerns rankings and particularly European MBAs in the rankings. So over the past 10 years, European MBA programs have been dramatically climbing in the MBA rankings. Does this mean, and is the value of European MBAs now fully recognized outside Europe? Who would like to start with a comment on this question? Lisa?
Sure, I can start. I think for sure that's the case. I mean, I'm American, and so my background obviously is coming from the 2-year MBA program, but I've been at IMD actually 10 years now. I've been here a long time. I've been in Europe 13 years, but when I look at the 2-year programs versus the European programs, which are normally shorter, I really see that the shorter programs are definitely paying off. You see more and more, if I look at the Americans applying to European programs who normally would have applied to the traditional 2-year programs. And at least at IMD, we still have managed to put a 2-year MBA program into 1 year. And we do this through something called hands-on teaching hours, and that's kind of an industry word. It's in industry jargon, which basically is how many hours that a student actually spends with a professor. And so you're still getting as much value for money as you would in a 2-year program. Now, what does that actually mean? It actually means that you actually are going to study more during that year, but the opportunity costs are completely different than if you were going to be out of work for 2 years. So I think that's why I think the programs in Europe are just as good as the 2-year programs in the United States.
Thank you, Camila.
Yes, I would just like to add, because of course, I agree absolutely with what Lisa is saying, and the fact that European schools have constantly been in top positions in the rankings over the past 10 years or so has certainly proven that the value of a European MBA, which is nowadays recognized without a doubt worldwide. As Lisa says, the fact of European programs usually being 1 year and therefore reducing the cost of studying an MBA is an important factor. But another big advantage, I think, is diversity, and the diversity found in European schools. This is diversity both of nationalities and background, because I think that in Europe we offer a much broader and more comprehensive network, and that is absolutely fundamental in the learning process, both within or inside and outside the classroom. Therefore, or I think that the most important thing is that our programs, and for sure at IE, we offer students what they will find in the workforce. We offer globalization, we will offer a constant changing world, and our programs reflect that. We offer the possibility of having people from all around the world with great variety. There's not a concentration of a specific region, so we really have people from all over the world with different backgrounds, not only coming from finance, not only coming from marketing, consulting, or not only wanted to be in the sectors, but who have absolutely different backgrounds, and in a world that is constantly changing. So what we do in our program is we are always trying to challenge our students to get out of their comfort zone, so they're able to live what they will really find out there in the workforce. And I think that is something that is really available in European MBA programs.
Yes, for sure. This actually touches my next question, which is about European programs being global. And you just mentioned the diversity of the student body in terms of professional background. In what other ways are European programs global? Lisa?
Well, I think I would add, Camila pretty much touched on everything. I think, again, I come from the U.S. 2-year system, and I had to go to Harvard a couple years ago. They invited me to an event that they had, because sometimes we collaborate with Harvard on different admissions things. And so I had to go to Harvard, and I was sitting in their classroom, and I was really, really surprised to see that a lot of people with very varied last names, but they were speaking exactly like me, and with the same kind of accent as me. And so when I come to IMD, it's fascinating to see that our student body is basically, it's 95% international. We rarely have a Swiss person in the program, which would shock most people. I think actually the European programs worldwide are the most international programs out there. And so I think that's the big draw worldwide for Europe, is that you're going to get diversity. Like Camila said, you're going to get diversity not only in nationality, but because of that, you're going to get function, sector, everything that you can imagine, you're going to find in Europe. So I think that's the one thing that's probably, the most interesting part about studying here. And the other thing is all the countries are so different. And they're because they're so close together, you can get on the train, you can get on a plane and be someplace else completely different in a matter of an hour or two. And I think people are very fascinated by that as well.
Yes, for sure. And I want to ask you both about another feature of European MBAs, which is the small class size and also the senior level of the student body. How would you comment on this fact? Camila?
Yeah, absolutely. Two things. So the first thing is the senior level, or the level of the student body in the European MBAs. As you know, we usually ask for a minimum of years of experience in the European programs, and this also enhances the learning experience that students have already experienced some of the situations that are being studied, and are therefore able to approach them with their real and, let's say, first-hand experiences from where they have all been working, allowing students to learn from their peers and from their classmates, as well as from the professor. So that on the seniority level. No, I wouldn't say seniority, but just some years of professional experience before doing an MBA. And regarding the class size and the small class size, I think this is fundamental because it allows more personalization and interaction between professor and students, also improving the learning experiences, fostering a close relationship between them, and a closer networking amongst the class. So I think that is fundamental. So the small class size is very good for the learning process. But also it is important that we have different at IE, for instance, we have different intakes. So we do have a small class. We optimize the small class, but the fact of having 2 intakes per year and more than 1 class per intake, which allows us to, let's say, maximize the network amongst MBA students the most that we can. So although the classes are small, the personalization in class, the learning experience in class is absolutely optimized. We're able to maximize it with the fact that we have different intakes per year, and the students are able to network with the MBA students from different intakes and also from different classes. So I think that in the end it's a win-win situation.
Lisa, would you like to add something to Camila's
The thing is we probably even have, I would imagine a smaller size. I mean, we have only 90 per year, and all 90 do go through the core classes together. So they do all the core business classes together. So the marketing, finance, accounting, electives, they do separately. But so I would say that the advantage of that is they know each other really well. Mm-hmm. So when you know each other really well, I think you feel more comfortable in, speaking your ideas, your opinions, than if you were in a group of 400, for example, or 500 or 1,000. So I think that that's one thing. And, we're probably one of the most senior group of MBAs in Europe. I mean, our average age is 31. So it's that when you combine the number of years of work experience in with those 90 people, I mean, the learnings that come out of that group, it's like Camila said, that they're really learning from their peers. Yes, they learn from the professors, there's no doubt about it, but I think the true learnings really do come from the peers, much more so than anything. And, I give you a good example. When I was working in the US, when I graduated from university, I was sent to an executive MBA program, and I was basically 24 years old. And I was in there with a bunch of men, and I actually could not add anything to these class discussions because I had zero business experience, and they were really frustrated with me. I was frustrated being there, and it wasn't a win-win situation for anybody. And my advice to anybody out there would be to get some good work experience, because it will benefit not only you but your peers as well. Because again, that's where the knowledge and the learnings come from.
Yes, and you will really feel that you fit into the program.
Absolutely.
And also, there is an interesting fact. It's about the annual salary, the average annual salary of MBA alumni in Europe, which according to a recent GMAC survey equals $105,120. How would you comment on this fact, and do you have an explanation? Camila?
Yes, I think that, well, I don't know if it's an explanation exactly, but I think that this is due to several things. The first thing is, and we already mentioned, the diversity and the diverse scope of candidates working in different parts of the world, broadening the spectrum of where student works, might also result in higher salaries depending on the country they are placed, as well as the sector or the area. No? So the fact that we have people from all over the world receiving different salaries when they go back to their home countries, or when they go back to the country they want to work at, working in different sectors, different industries, that also helps in the fact that of the annual salary of an MBA alumni in Europe. No, but apart from that, I think that European schools have we have strong career management centers, as Lisa mentioned even in the description of the program, and we also have it at IE. We have very personalized treatment of our students. We have a very important, or these centers or these departments in each of our schools have a very important, say, job in the placement of our students and the creation of value within companies, and they work strongly in giving companies a solid and a defined value proposition of the MBA profiles, which is therefore translated in the recognition of this value by the employers. So I think that could be one of the explanations, let's say.
Yes, thank you. And Lisa, do you have maybe not an explanation but a comment about this fact?
No, I would basically just add, I think, again, because the average age of the European MBA student happens to be slightly older, that's going to drive the average salary up. Because if you look again where you look at the US MBAs, they tend to be quite a bit younger, and even the Asian MBAs now, they tend to be quite a bit younger. So the European MBAs still are quite a bit older, so of course that's going to drive the average salary up slightly. And the other thing is, a lot of people coming to Europe want to stay in Europe, and so if you look at the countries that they're going into, the average salaries are pretty high. And so a lot of people, I mean, IMD, we place people all over the world, obviously, but a lot of people do want to stay in Europe, and they're not just staying in Switzerland. I mean, they stay in Germany, they go to the UK, they go to the Netherlands, so they're going all over the place, and so it's our average salary is very, very high. But I do think I really attribute it to a lot of it being that the average age is slightly higher.
And by the way, another interesting fact is not only the high annual salary, the high average annual salary, but the job placement rate itself. So statistics show that 90% of the MBA graduates of top business schools are employed within 3 months after graduation. How do European MBAs, how does IMD and IE achieve such a high job placement rate?
Yes, of course. So actually, and it is actually very, very much related to what I answered in our last question. I think the fact that we have a diverse student body also enables us to have relationship with different companies around the world within different sectors. And also, so the placement, let's say, it would be more successful in that sense. And we have, once again, the career management centers in Europe, which are whose goal is to achieve the best value for our students as well as the best placement. Apart from that, and in our case specifically, we have, for instance, 26 offices worldwide. So we have, for instance, 3 in the US, we have in Latin America, we have an office in Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Brazil, Peru, Chile and Argentina. We have in Europe, we have in Portugal, in UK, in Germany, in Russia, in Turkey, in Italy, in France. We have in Asia, in Singapore and Japan and Korea and Australia and India. So basically, we have this office around the world that are constantly building relations with recruiters, with local recruiters, and assisting on the placement of our students worldwide. So we do have some people that want to stay, but we have some people that either want to go back to their home countries or they want to continue their international experience and work somewhere else. So these offices, as well as of course the support of the alumni network, allow us to be very much consolidated in different markets and have a very close relationship with the with the employers, being able to render job offers and place students around the world. And of course, this allows us to have such a high job placement rate after graduation.
All right, thank you. And Lisa?
So I would add the exact same thing as Camila said. I think you have to have a really strong career services team, and I think that in order to basically have job stats like that, I mean, especially in this marketplace right now, you have to come from one of the top European MBA programs for sure. The market is tough out there. When I first started at IMD, I actually started in career services as one of the career coaches, so I know a lot about career services. The career services teams have to be able to train the MBAs on how to network, how to look for jobs, how to interview, how to expect the unexpected in this marketplace, because anything can happen at any point in time. The market's changed quite a bit in the last few years, but it really hasn't changed that much. It's just that it seems like it's taking longer now for the MBAs to get there. They have to work a little bit harder to get that dream job, but they eventually always really get there. The other thing is, I think that it's a little bit like we touched on before. I think the European MBAs are different than, for example, the American MBAs. I think we bring something different to the table for these recruiters that they're really, really interested in. And it can be the diversity, and I think that's probably the biggest key, is the diversity and the experience that they bring to the table is very different than some of the other MBA programs out there. But I really think that, you know, having this personalized attention and a good career services team really will bring the results there. I also think having a really strong alumni network out there can substantially help as well.
Yes, maybe this is a good connection actually to my next question, which is about the networking opportunities offered by top MBAs and of course top European MBAs. How important is actually networking for MBA graduates? Lisa?
Well, I think that's one of the main reasons that a lot of people choose to do a good MBA program, is for the networking opportunity. I mean, that it's known, it's a known fact out there that people are doing MBAs to basically for career advancement. So if people are going to choose a good MBA program, it's usually to switch careers. But along with that comes good networking opportunities. So I think it's really, it's a choice of a lifetime to choose, you know, the kind of group that you want to be together. So my philosophy is that birds of a feather flock together. So you're going to choose the kind of people that you want to hang out with for the rest of your life. And so when someone chooses a certain school, they're doing that unconsciously or consciously for a particular reason. So for example, at IMD, when you look at the MBA program, yes, we have a small MBA program. It's 90 per year. So people say, well, you know, that's not a very big network. But one thing that they forget about is IMD's main business, because we're not a university whatsoever. We don't have master's programs. We basically are an executive education training center. Well, what that means for an MBA is they get between 8,000 and 10,000 executives per year as part of their network. So they have, you know, between 80 and 90,000 executives in the IMD network that become part of their network that all over the world that they can network with. So in all different countries all throughout the world. So, you know, and I think part of that network is just invaluable for people. And, you know, people choose IE for that reason. They're going to choose, you know, London Business School for various reasons. But a lot of it is for the kind of network that they want to be involved with.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with what Lisa just said. No, you know, networking is the key within an MBA, and it is one of the main reasons why students want to do an MBA. No, and as Lisa mentioned, we also at IE since day one we have our students invited to student and alumni events. We have what we call the IE Insights, which bring high-profile speakers on campus who are able to, after the conferences, are able to share time with the students and do some networking. And we have initiatives within the students from different programs that are interested in transversal things. I don't know, working in Latin America, career changers, entrepreneurship, you know, different things that will enable and broaden the networking within our students in general. These things are present since day one. And also we have something that we call that is called the Global Network for Advanced Management, which was actually promoted by Yale. It is a network where we have it with Renmin University in China, with Yale in the US, with Koç in Turkey, and Getúlio Vargas in Brazil, where we have short exchange and networking programs of a week long, where it takes place between two schools. No? So we go there, they come here, and we have this networking not only within our school but also with these schools. And I think that this is something that will be absolutely beneficial for the students doing an MBA, and internally, of course, and we offer even the intensive Spanish courses, for instance, that you can do even before the program starts. All these things we're always pushing for our students to get out of their comfort zone, to meet new people, to have new classmates, to have new to build new relationships with all the people they can find at our campus, because we have seen that this works, and actually we have real life situations. I don't know, I'm thinking about Buzu or Mzingo, which are two startups that are that they started in IE, and these people the members and the entrepreneurs of these startups, they didn't know each other, they didn't know their partners, and they in class, or because they were in the entrepreneurship club, or because they were even, I don't know, playing football together, they met each other and they launched these amazing startups, and they started their own network. No? So these are things that we're always pushing in our students.
My next question, and basically I want to start a new theme, which is more about the format of an MBA and which is the right MBA for a candidate. And my first question on this topic is about the duration of European MBAs. So we know that the traditional US MBA was launched 105 years ago, and it had a 2-year duration. And European MBAs offer shorter programs, between 10 and 16 months on average. So how does the shorter duration influence the program content, and does it have any impact on the MBA experience? Well, Lisa, could you please answer this question?
Okay, so like I mentioned before, we still managed to keep a 2-year program in 11 months. So what does that mean? It means that you'll only have to be out of work for 1 year, which is the upside, but the downside is that you have to study twice as hard during that year. IMD is known as probably one of the hardest programs in the industry to do for that reason. And what does that actually mean is that means that you might be able to not party as much as you'd like to, travel as much as you'd like to. Sometimes people want to be involved in a lot of clubs, activities. In our kind of a program, you may not be able to do that. We do have that, but maybe not as much as you'd like to. But again, you'll be out of work for 1 year versus 2. As far as the learnings go, I come from the US system, and so I'm very familiar with that system. I think the learnings are the same. I just think they're more intense in a 1-year program. So I always draw it as an upside down T. The 2-year program is the bottom of the T, and a 1-year program is the bar in between. The content for me is the same, maybe minus a few electives and the long internship. But when people look at the internship, they think the internship will help you be able to change for those career changers. But when you look at our stats, our 2012 class, 99% of them managed to change industry, geography, or function, which is really high considering this is an 11-month program. So personally, I think that, that 11-month program you don't really lose out on a lot, with the exception of you just have to work pretty hard during that period of time.
Which is, after all, the aim of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And Camila, your full-time MBA program was 13 months,
yes.
Correct?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, I of course, I agree. Actually, the fact that our programs, that most European programs are 1 year long, is actually an asset. With the current situation and the professional and economic climate, it is very complicated to leave the workforce for 2 years. No, so many things can happen in 2 years, and it is not easy to be able to do a full-time program in this time. The fact that the program is shorter does not affect, under any circumstance, the content or the experience of the MBA. It intensifies it, as Lisa mentioned. So it is very intense, but we have the same business education, the same skill development content as a 2-year MBA program. We do have the personalization, maybe as Lisa said, maybe a few electives less or shorter internships, but we do have the exchange, the internships, the electives. We just have to do it in a very efficient and very intense way in order to give students the same outcome within less time. So actually, it's even better because we're challenging and demanding a lot of our students. So we need to have people who are, or students and candidates who are really able to manage this, to manage the pressure, and we enable them to go back to the workforce in the least amount of time necessary. So in the end, one thing that you will get out of a European MBA is time management. If you're not able to have time management, it will be very complicated for you to do an MBA in such a short time. It's once again, very, very intense. And finally, something that we have seen, and this is for those candidates who are company sponsored. 1-year programs have of course, been much more beneficial for those who are being sponsored by their companies, whose companies are paying for the MBA. It makes this possibility even more feasible. That's something that we've seen. So I think that in the end, the content is the same, and you get a lot of benefits of a shorter program.
Yes, so this is about the full-time programs, which are on average a year long.
Exactly.
What about then the other formats, the executive, the part-time MBAs, distance learning? So basically in Europe, international mobility is easy thanks to the smaller distances. And we have seen an increasing number of part-time programs launched by European business schools in the past few years. What is the employer's perception of part-time programs versus full-time MBAs? Lisa, maybe you would like to answer this question.
A lot of the, again, I can't say a lot about the EMBA because I'm not really that involved in it, but a lot of the people that come to our EMBA come company sponsored. They may not be, the company may not be paying, but they're obviously working for a company. They don't come not working. So they're still working for the company, and so they only come to IMD a few times during the year. It's not, it's not like some programs where they're coming in every 4 weeks, for example. And so that's really about all I can say. So they don't necessarily come here and then at the end of the program choose to go find another career, for example. They may do that after they go back to the company within a few months, but it's not something where they're coming to IMD without a job necessarily and then, hoping to find a job at IMD.
Yes.
It's very different. I mean, they're still working at the same time and going through the MBA, and so it's a true executive program. It's not a part-time program and then hoping that they use career services to find a job at the end. It's not designed like that at all.
And it serves a completely different purpose.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Camila, what about
Yes.
your executive MBA, and you have also a distance learning program?
Yes, so basically it's more than a distance learning. What we have is we have the global MBA program and the executive programs. These are all, as I mentioned, the blended programs which combine face-to-face and online sessions so that those candidates who are working because they have to be working, but due to personal or professional obligations are not able to dedicate 100% of their time to coming to Madrid and studying their MBAs, they have a solution. What we have with this blended format is it's basically, we have a technology that is a real simulation of the classroom experience. They have a whiteboard as if they were in meeting rooms. They have group meetings amongst themselves. The classes are interactive with their classmates and their professors. They're always interacting. So in the end, it is a solution for those people who are not able to do it full-time and dedicate 100% of their time. Be that a more professional, 3 to 8 years of experience professional or executive profile. However, employers, I think that they, as Lisa mentioned, employers see it as a positive thing. Many or all of our candidates come with jobs, they're working at the same time, but they need to have, let's say, the consent of their employers, because it will take some time, and it is important that they are informed. So they always come with the consent of their employers, and they actually like it for several things. First, they don't have a break in their CVs since they continue working while studying. It is not easy to manage an MBA, work, and continue with your family lives. So basically, people who are doing this are able to manage their time and they're able to multitask. And that is something that is valuable for many companies. They also have the ability to have what we call real-time applicability, which is of great value to companies, which is, they learn something and they're able to practice it at the same time in their companies. The fact of having an online content enables students to develop distance working skills, which is also nowadays very fundamental, or is nowadays very beneficial for many companies. And of course, in the end, well, you're having an employee that is having a real around the world network. I think that once again, it is very important in our case, at least with our blended programs. Why we don't call, why is it that we don't specifically call it part-time, but we call them blended? And that is because we offer the flexibility of for students to be able to come from different parts of the world, to personalize and their programs so that they're able to do either the global MBA or the executive MBA. And this allows students from all over the world to study one of our blended, or let's call it part-time programs. Therefore, diversity within the class is not being affected. We have people from all over the world in our part-time or blended programs. So it is not, by part-time or our programs, we don't mean just people from Spain or people from Europe. We actually have people, students from Nigeria coming for the IE. We have an executive MBA with Brown, and he comes every 3 or 4 months. He's here and he attends the session and he's doing the program. We have people from Japan or Russia doing our executive MBAs, so they can choose whether they want to come 2 times in the year, or they have the ability of doing it every 6 weeks. So depending on how far away they're able to do the program as well. We have people from Latin American, North Americans doing the global MBA, also with the possibility of either coming 2 times per year or every 6 weeks. So this flexibility allows us to have a blended program, to have a program with diversity, but for those people who are not able to do a full-time program. And in the end, once again, it's a win-win situation. No? So it's a great possibility for those who have to continue with their current positions.
Yeah, so it's just an alternative way of doing
Absolutely.
an MBA.
Absolutely.
Another criteria that people consider when choosing an MBA is, of course, location of the MBA. And what is the importance of location and of the cultural specifics for a European MBA, and what other criteria are crucial when one chooses a European MBA? What would you say, Lisa?
Well, so I think I've been in, like I said, I've been in IMD 10 years, and when people are choosing IMD, I don't really hear them choosing IMD necessarily for Lausanne per se. They like Switzerland for sure, and I think that, but they like Switzerland for different factors and for different reasons. They're looking at it because it's one of the most international countries in Europe. You walk outside and you hear almost every single language being spoken. There are over 350 multinational headquarters based in Switzerland now. It's easy to travel to and from any other country here, although they don't have much time to do that, but they still can if they want to. And so I think that's kind of the draw of Switzerland. People feel safe here. They think that the jobs are really good here. The quality of life is excellent. We have probably the lowest unemployment rate in Europe. I mean, so people are really happy to study and live here. What's really interesting is when the MBAs get here in January, they end up, a lot of them don't come. Obviously, 95% of them don't come from here. They complain and they moan about Switzerland at the beginning because it's very rural oriented, and it's the people are a bit different here at the very beginning. However, they grow to love it, and in the end, the majority actually want to stay here, and so it really grows on them, and a good majority actually do stay in Switzerland to work. So it's a place where people, they fall in love with it, and it's a good place to work, and the jobs are really good here. But they also find that a lot of them want to stay in Europe in general. So, but with that being said, I also really still believe that fit is very important in an MBA program. And given everything that I just said, our program is different than most MBA programs out there. We do have a very small class size. The focus on leadership and personal development is different than most programs out there, and this possibly isn't for everybody. So, I encourage people actually to really look into this and really look around and visit different kinds of schools, because IMD might not be the school for everybody. So, I mean, as much as people are very interested in it, it is quite special that way.
Yes, this is why we recently
Yeah.
started organizing campus visits, because this is really crucial. When you actually see the place, you see the campus, and you can really make a decision for yourself.
Yeah, and I also think, Melina, I don't mean to interrupt you. I also think talking to, for those people that cannot visit, I mean, you may do it virtually, but for those people who can't either do it virtually or come to see us, I mean, we do campus visits all the time. My other piece of advice would be to get in touch with as many alumni as you possibly can, because my other piece of advice earlier about talking to as many people as you can within the network, and birds of a feather flock together, is so true. When people talk to people in the alumni network, they'll know immediately if they fit in or not. And I encourage people that are looking at different schools to talk to the alums in those particular schools and find out, do I really fit in that group or not? And I've been in admissions a long time now, and I can spot, when we do our assessment days, I can spot instantly who will come to IMD and who won't, just based on their personality. And it's you can really tell by someone's personality if they're actually made for this kind of an environment or not. And that's why I said for people just to talk to as many people as they can, because this kind of an environment is truly not for everybody.
And can they connect with these people if they contact you, for example?
The best thing to do is to contact the marketing department, the group that works for me. It's mba.info@imd.org, and ask them for alumni contacts. They can ask anything. They can contact me if they want, and I can put them in contact with marketing. It's no problem. But we're happy to give out alumni contacts anywhere in the world. But for me, it's the best way to find out if you really connect with IMD and with those kind of people. And the kind of people that IMD tends to attract, because it's not typical. It's not a typical MBA program whatsoever.
Yes, and Camila, what would
Yes.
you say about the alumni and connecting with alumni and location and other criteria for choosing an MBA? What is the crucial criteria for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think as Lisa says, that fit is the key. Most candidates focus on getting the admission to their top choice of schools rather than really researching and on being admitted to the right school for them. It is very important to analyze and make a decision wisely, as this is a very important and expensive decision. No? And it is a decision that will affect the rest of your life. Candidates, I think that what I would encourage you is to see what each school offers, their mission, their focus, see if they fit in this profile, and if the school can offer them what they want, if there's a good match. And of course, this one of the not only searching and researching about the schools, but also getting in touch with alumni. That's fundamental. And I think that happens with all schools. I mean, if you want to know whether you're a fit, talk to alumni. Of course, talk to us. But get a feel of what the school offers and whether you would fit in that profile, and whether what the school offers is what you want.
Yes.
The second thing is location. I mean, location is important, but once again, the fit within the school is even more. IE is located in Madrid, and of course, the dynamism of such an amazing city is reflected in the teaching at our school. Plus, it gives you the possibility of learning Spanish, the benefits of the fact that Spain is the gateway towards Latin America. Of course, you have the tapas, the football, the weather, all these things that you also have in Spain. But in the end, once again, IE is an international school. We're located in Madrid, and we benefit from those things, but we are an international school. We have a global classroom. We have a global content. We have the possibility of exchange and duos that enable students to broaden their international experience even more. So in the end, it is absolutely international. So I think that is something that candidates also should take into account when choosing their MBA.
Thank you. And it is time actually to go to our last question, which is, who is the right candidate for you? Because it is one thing for the candidate to find the MBA program that would fit, but what kind of candidate profiles are you looking for, Camila?
Okay, so once again, yes, we're looking for candidates that are a good match for IE. So what we want is we want students who are able to manage and to embrace change, who are creative, who are dynamic, who are willing to live a unique experience in a very diverse and international ambiance, who have an entrepreneurial mindset, who are able to work in teams, who like sharing, and this is something very important, who like sharing and learning from others. And we've discussed this extensively, but this is very important. And also who value diversity and have a desire to expand their horizons. And of course, all this while learning and applying everything to the business world. So in a nutshell, this is a little bit of what we're looking for. Very, very open-minded, very dynamic people, and who want to learn more, and who want to get out of their comfort zones and have a unique experience.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the elaborate answer.
Okay.
To my question. And Lisa, what are the candidate profiles you are looking for at IMD?
Sure, Milena. So at IMD, so we always say we're looking to select the best group of 90, not the best 90, because if I wanted the best 90, there'd be about 3 countries in the world that I would go to, because a lot of people think of being the best meaning the highest GMAT scores, and we don't focus just on that. We do focus on GMAT, but that's not the only thing. So what we're looking for, bright, I would say talented people, but as Camila said, also very dynamic people, and we're looking for people who really want to make a difference. We're also looking for diversity, and diversity means different things to different people, but diversity in terms of nationality. We're looking for diversity in terms of the background they come from, the sector they come from. We're looking for people who work well on teams, who have really good interpersonal skills. Our MBAs usually have between 3 and 10 years of full-time work experience, so the minimum to get in is 3. They're between 25 and 35 years old. They have a strong international outlook. It doesn't mean that they've necessarily lived outside their country. Most of them have. But I'm happy to explain that to somebody if they don't understand that exactly. And they have strong leadership potential, and that's very hard to explain because we know that the young ones don't necessarily have leadership experience yet, but what we're looking for is people that have the potential to lead one day, and where we usually see that are in the letters of recommendation the younger that they are. So that's in a nutshell, that's what IMD is looking for.
Actually, this was the answer to my last question. So I trust that in this discussion we managed to show the great value of European MBAs, and I would like to thank you, Lisa and Camila, for your participation in this discussion, for sharing your experience, and for giving such elaborate answers to all my questions. Thank you.